There is a kind of calm that does not impress people. A calm that quietly unsettles them. It is not the calm of meditation rooms or soft music, but the calm that remains when everything is on the line, when voices rise, when pressure thickens the air, and when others begin to break under its weight. Long ago in feudal Japan, there was a wandering ronin known as Ryuzen the Still Blade. He was not the fastest warrior, nor the strongest, yet in moments when even seasoned fighters froze, Ryuzen stood unmoved, as if chaos itself passed straight through him without leaving a mark. Those who faced him whispered that fighting Ryuzen felt like striking a mountain. Not because he attacked first, and not because he displayed overwhelming force, but because he never reacted. Their aggression found no resistance. Their pressure found no purchase, and their fear returned to them unanswered. Ryuzen understood something most people never learn. Pressure is not an enemy standing in front of you. It is a disturbance born inside the mind, while others tried desperately to calm themselves in the middle of battle. Ryuzen had already won long before the blade was ever drawn. Today, you will learn the ancient samurai system behind that kind of calm. Not relaxation, not motivation, but a way of becoming truly unshakable. If you wish to build a warrior's mind, one that remains steady under pressure, conflict, and chaos, subscribe to this channel and walk this path with us. Most people believe pressure comes from the outside, from deadlines, expectations, judgment, conflict, or the weight of important moments. But the samurai knew a deeper truth. Pressure does not enter you from the world. It is generated inside you by the way your mind interprets what is happening. When a moment truly matters, the mind does something dangerous. It stops seeing reality as it is and begins projecting a future that does not yet exist. A single meeting becomes a threat to your identity. A single mistake becomes the end of your career. A single confrontation becomes a battle for survival. And the body reacts accordingly. The heart accelerates, the breath shortens, the hands tremble, and the mind narrows, not because the situation is lethal, but because the mind has convinced itself that it is. To the samurai, this was not weakness, it was conditioning. The human nervous system evolved to keep us alive in a brutal world. Not to help us speak calmly in front of others or make rational decisions under social pressure. When the mind senses danger, real or imagined, it activates ancient survival mechanisms. In those moments, logic fades and instinct takes over. What you experience as pressure is simply your nervous system doing what it was trained to do thousands of years ago. Ryuzen understood this early in his path. He saw warriors lose not because their opponent was stronger, but because their own minds betrayed them. They fought shadows instead of reality. They reacted to imagined consequences instead of the present moment. Their fear was never caused by the blade in front of them, but by the story forming inside their thoughts. This is why trying to calm down in the middle of pressure almost never works. Once the mind has labeled a situation as dangerous, the body is already in motion. Telling yourself to relax is like telling a storm to stop after it has already formed. The samurai did not attempt to suppress fear once it arose. They removed the conditions that allowed it to arise in the first place. The first step, then, is not control, it is recognition. To see clearly that pressure is not an external force attacking you, but an internal illusion created by interpretation. When this illusion is exposed, its power begins to weaken. The situation remains the same, but your relationship to it changes. And in that shift, a different kind of strength is born. This is where the path of the samurai truly begins. Not with the sword, not with courage, but with understanding the mind that creates the enemy before the enemy ever appears. Once the illusion of pressure is recognized, a new question emerges. If pressure is created by the mind, then what kind of mind remains untouched by it? The samurai called this state Heijoshin, the ordinary mind. Ordinary, not because it is weak or passive, but because it does not change. Heijoshin is the ability to maintain the same inner state in all circumstances. Speaking to a friend, walking alone at night, standing before an enemy, or facing judgment from others, the mind remains the same. Calm does not increase. Tension does not rise. Awareness stays centered and clear. This does not mean the absence of emotion. It means emotion no longer controls the center. Most people live with a divided mind. One version of themselves appears when life is comfortable, and another appears when pressure enters. confidence collapses. Breathing becomes shallow. The body stiffens. The samurai saw this division as a fatal flaw. A mind that changes with circumstances can be manipulated by circumstances. Ryujin trained to erase this division. He did not begin in moments of danger. He began in moments that seemed insignificant. When he walked through a market, his breathing remained slow and even. When spoken to sharply, his posture did not shift. When watched by others, his attention did not turn inward. He practiced remaining exactly as he was when no one was observing him. At first, the body resisted. The nervous system, conditioned by years of reaction, attempted to take control. The heart would race. The muscles would tighten. The impulse to adjust, defend, or perform would rise. Ryujin did not fight these reactions. He observed them and returned to center. Again and again, day after day. This repetition reshaped the mind. Over time, the body learned that these situations were not threats. The same state once reserved for solitude became accessible in public. In conflict, and in uncertainty, calm was no longer something to achieve. It became the default. Heijoshin is not achieved through force. It is built through consistency. Through choosing, again and again, not to become someone else when pressure appears. When the mind stops changing, pressure loses its leverage. And when pressure can no longer move the mind, the foundation of the unshakable warrior is set. Once the mind no longer changes with circumstance, another problem becomes visible. Even a calm mind can be crowded. Thoughts accumulate, plans multiply, attention fragments. The samurai understood that stability alone was not enough. A warrior with a steady mind but a cluttered mind would still move too slowly. This is where the principle of mu emerges. Emptiness, not as absence, but as precision. Mu does not mean erasing the mind or escaping thought. It means removing everything that does not belong to the present moment. What remains is not nothing. What remains is exactly what is needed. Ryujin observed that most warriors lost themselves before the fight even began. They filled their minds with outcomes, reputations, fear of failure, and imagined judgment. In doing so, they crowded out perception. They were thinking about the battle instead of seeing it. When the mind is full, awareness becomes dull. When awareness dulls, reaction replaces action. Mu reverses this. Before each encounter, Ryujin stripped his mind down to 3 essential questions. What must be done now? What must be known now? How must I be now? Any thought that did not answer one of these questions was released. Victory and defeat disappeared. Praise and blame dissolved. Only the present remained. This emptiness created speed, not the speed of movement, but the speed of decision. With nothing unnecessary occupying attention, perception sharpened. The body responded without hesitation because the mind was no longer arguing with itself. Action flowed from clarity rather than force. Mu also revealed a hidden truth. Anxiety thrives on excess. Fear feeds on imagined futures and unchosen possibilities. When the mind is emptied of what does not exist, fear loses its ground. What remains cannot overwhelm you, because it is real, immediate, and manageable. Productive emptiness is not passive. It is ruthless. It cuts away distraction without mercy. And in that space, the samurai does not hesitate, does not rush, and does not freeze. He simply acts. Even with an ordinary mind and productive emptiness, one weakness still remains. Many people can stay centered when pressure is distant, but lose themselves the moment it becomes real. The samurai recognized this not as failure, but as incomplete preparation. Ryujin never waited for battle to arrive before training his mind. He understood that once pressure is present, it is already too late to change who you are. When adrenaline rises and the body enters survival mode, conscious control disappears. What remains is habit, and habit decides everything. This is why the samurai prepared in silence. Long before danger appeared, Ryujin practiced what can only be called ghost training. Each day, in moments of calm, he entered the situations that would one day test him. He walked through them in his mind with precision. The approach, the confrontation, the unexpected turn, the moment of decision, and through all of it, he maintained the same state of being he had while alone. To the mind, these experiences were real. The nervous system does not clearly distinguish between a lived event and a vividly imagined one. Each repetition carved a familiar path. Pressure lost its novelty. Fear lost its surprise. By the time the real moment arrived, Ryuzen had already been there many times before. This kind of preparation is invisible to others. There are no outward signs, no dramatic rituals, no visible struggle, but internally, the mind becomes seasoned. When the situation finally unfolds, there is no shock, no scramble for control, only recognition. Ghost training transforms calm from an effort into a reflex. You no longer attempt to stay centered under pressure. You arrive already centered. The moment does not test you. It reveals you. This is why the samurai seemed untouched by chaos. Not because they were fearless, but because nothing they faced was unfamiliar. The battle was already over before it began. When preparation is complete and the mind is no longer surprised by pressure, a new ability emerges. The samurai called this reading the wind. It is the art of observing without interference, of perceiving what is happening without becoming entangled in it. Most people react before they see. A raised voice triggers defense. A challenge provokes emotion. An unexpected move demands immediate response. In reacting, they reveal themselves. Their intentions become visible. Their balance is exposed. The samurai learned to do the opposite. Ryuzen stood still, not only in body but in perception. He watched the rhythm of his opponent's breath, the tension in their shoulders, the impatience in their eyes. He listened to what was said and what was left unsaid. And because he did not react, the other revealed more than they intended. Non-reaction is not hesitation. It is control. When you refuse to respond emotionally, you remove yourself from the momentum of the situation. The other party, expecting resistance or agreement, finds nothing to push against. Their pressure turns inward. Their urgency increases. Mistakes appear. In conflict, this is devastating. In negotiation, it is disarming. In leadership, it is authority. Those who remain calm under pressure force others to show their hand first. They speak more. They overcommit. They reveal fear disguised as aggression. Reading the wind also requires humility. It demands the discipline to remain open rather than defensive, attentive rather than clever. The samurai did not seek to dominate through force. They allowed the environment to speak, and in listening, they gained advantage. Ryuzen understood that silence is not emptiness. It is space, and in that space, truth rises to the surface. The warrior who can read the wind does not rush toward victory. He lets victory come to him. At the end of the path, there is no technique left to apply, no method to remember, no state to force. What remains is the unshakable center. This is the final ring, the place where the samurai no longer tries to be calm, because calm has become who he is. Ryuzen did not feel fearless. He did not feel confident. He felt ordinary. The same presence he carried while walking alone at dawn was the presence he carried into confrontation. Uncertainty and risk. Nothing needed to be added. Nothing needed to be removed. The mind did not shift. And because it did not shift, pressure found nothing to move. Those who faced him sensed this immediately. His stillness unsettled them, not because it was aggressive, but because it revealed imbalance. When one person remains centered, the instability of others becomes impossible to hide. Calm becomes a mirror, and mirrors make people uncomfortable. This is why true serenity carries authority. It does not demand attention. It commands it. In moments of chaos, people instinctively look to the one who is not reacting, the one who is not hurried, the one who is not pulled by fear or urgency. Leadership is recognized long before it is declared. The unshakable center is not built in moments of success. It is forged through repetition, restraint, and understanding, through refusing to become someone else when circumstances change, through seeing pressure for what it is and allowing it to pass without resistance. In the end, the samurai does not defeat pressure. He outgrows it. Pressure slides off him because there is nothing inside to catch it. This is the quiet power that cannot be taught through motivation or inspiration alone. It is lived, practiced, and embodied. When calm becomes intimidating, you will know you have reached it. And when you reach it, you will understand what the samurai knew all along. Serenity is not a state of mind. It is a way of being. The path you have just walked is not about becoming calmer in difficult moments. It is about becoming someone who is no longer ruled by them. The samurai did not train to endure pressure. They trained until pressure lost its meaning. An ordinary mind that does not shift. An emptiness that removes what does not belong. Preparation done long before the moment arrives. Awareness that observes without reaction. And finally, a center that cannot be shaken. These are not techniques. They are layers of identity. And identity, once formed, does not collapse under stress. Most people spend their lives chasing confidence, motivation, or reassurance. The samurai sought none of these. They understood that true power is silent. It does not announce itself. It does not rush. It does not need to prove anything. It simply remains. If you felt something resonate in this lesson, it is because this path is not ancient. It is human. The same mind that once faced blades now faces deadlines, judgment, and uncertainty. The battlefield has changed, but the discipline has not. If you wish to continue training the samurai mind in the modern world, subscribe to this channel. Here, we do not offer quick motivation or surface-level calm. We build depth. We build discipline. We build presence. And before you leave, reflect on this question. In what moment of pressure do you most often lose yourself? Write it in the comments. Awareness is the first cut of the blade. Walk forward quietly. Remain steady. And remember, when calm becomes intimidating, you are no longer reacting to the world. The world is reacting to you.